Welcome to this spooky edition of Saturday Night Sports. How y'all doing tonight?
Whoa! It's a Condor Sasquatch.
Yep. Oh, Lord.
Jokes.
Happy Halloween, man.
Happy Halloween, everyone.
Yes. Happy Halloween.
It's going to be a great show. I'm excited. And I'm also excited to get out of this costume. So,
It's a little warm in here.
we're just going to get right into it. I'm excited. It's going to be a great weekend of football. Obviously, the debut of Tua. We'll get to that. We have, San Francisco continuing the resurge, I should say. Kansas City still playing well. Pittsburgh taking down Tennessee last week. Baker Mayfield out dueling Joe Burrow. It's going to be good stuff. I'm excited. Kyler Murray taking care of business, knocking off Seattle. Good times. So, fellas, we'll go ahead.
What
Let
do
you
you got?
guys kick things off here.
Ooh,
I'll
nice.
return shortly. Goodbye.
Well, to start the recap, I had made the comment on the special on Thursday that Atlanta, either team's pass defense has been horrible. Let's be real. And I said whoever made, the moves in the secondary and, AKA making tackles or defending the pass, I said was going to win the game. That's why I went with Atlanta, and they came out and they played more physical. They got to Bridgewater. He took a big hit, which knocked him out for a little bit even. So I think it'll be interesting going forward what Atlanta and Carolina will do in their respective divisions.
Right. This Atlanta Carolina game, it wasn't bad. It was actually a pretty good game. Standing out. It was just one of those things where, listen, Todd Gurley, he tried.
Yeah, he
tried. He really tried.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. And then it was a gift. It was a gift that came out afterwards of the Lions players, tapping his shoulder, like, it's okay. Thank you. We appreciate you. Like they literally just open up the hole and it's like, hey guys, by all means, go ahead and score. Give us the ball back. In less than 2 minutes, Matt Stafford's gonna ram it down your throats.
Right.
And that's pretty much what happened.
Oh yeah.
Matt Stafford had an unbelievable 2-minute drill. That's the Matt
Oh,
Stafford.
hey, sorry guys, I'm late. My bad. Big taking over there. Had to throw him out. What did I miss?
So we were talking about the Atlanta-Carolina game and how Matt Stafford pretty much dominated that last 2 minutes. Not even 2 minutes, a minute 30. He dominated that minute and 30 that he had, and that's the Matt Stafford that we all know. That is the first round draft, number one overall draft pick.
Right.
That we know and that we love so much. And I think he's by far the most underrated quarterback in the league.
Right.
For sure.
Do you think that's what sent kind of Atlanta to this point to beat Carolina?
Kind
of the fuel to the fire that, Todd Gurley tries to stop, falls in. Oops, I scored. Kind of interesting. I've actually never really witnessed a football player get mad from scoring. It was actually interesting. Normally you see smiles and rejoice and, hey, we scored. This guy was mad.
Yeah.
Interesting. It was interesting.
When you look at this Atlanta versus Carolina game, though, you can see that between the two offenses, you can tell that there was a major difference.
Mm-hmm.
There's a major difference than when Dan Quinn is on the field than versus Raheem Morris as the actual, leader of that team. There's a whole different energy, attitude.
Yeah.
And I think this will be good for Atlanta because despite what you may think, I think they're ready to turn this chain around, and they're actually ready to start winning games and win this division. Um,
They can.
but it was sucks because to see Teddy Bridgewater, he's been working so hard to get back up to where he was supposed to been, when he was drafted by the Vikings. But then you see this injury, and we don't know how bad it is so far. I just hope that he's able to come back if they do make the playoffs. He's able to come back and you know and play again. But
Right.
PJ Walker, he hasn't actually played an NFL snap. So seeing him come in, you can see where Carolina and Matt Rule can see where they can fit him in at. So I have high hopes for PJ Walker. He was in the XFL, now he's in the NFL. So now we can. What I've seen from that game is I see where PJ Walker can evolve. It's just due to the unforeseen circumstances of being injured and having to come in at a very close tight game.
Mm-hmm.
You really can't really ask of much, from PJ Walker, or any backup of that matter that never really played an NFL snap.
Yeah, I think the best one, and he also, besides the XFL, he also played for Rule in Temple. He was his quarterback
Right.
when he took over the program there. So there's familiarity, which is a good thing for the quarterback and the system. I know that Bridgewater came back in at the end of that game to try to tie it, but he didn't look right. I mean, I think he forced it. I mean, he took a big hit.
I think Matt Rule, I think he should have just kept him out. What I seen there is what Mike Shanahan did with RG3. When he brought him back into that Seahawks wild card game, and just one bad step and he just went down. I mean, you just let him let PJ Walker finish it out. I get that the game is on the line, but you obviously was invested in Teddy Bridgewater. So right now, let him sit. There are going to come more games like this. But
True.
you risking it is just going to make that injury much worse than what it is.
Oh yeah,
I agree. Looking into that game, Matt Ryan didn't have any pass touchdowns. He had one interception. Julio Jones goes off, but again, they didn't have any passing touchdowns. It was kind of everything but that, which was interesting. Again, good for them to close it out. They seem to have had issues. Obviously, we all know late for them to close it out, so that was big for them. It kind of goes into a take we'll get to later, but yeah, definitely that hit on Teddy was just gross. Like,
it was big.
So uncalled for, so just unprofessional, just gross, not cool. And then you see Carolina again. You see Carolina at times they look good, at times they look bad. What is this team? What are we going to get from this team? We kind of need we need some consistency. I like Matt Rule. I think he's a really good coach. I think he's able to turn organizations around. He did it in college. I think he could do it at this level, but I don't think we're going to have the instant turnaround. Does he have the pieces? Yes, but McCaffrey getting hurt early totally hurt that team. And you see it. That's why they're still kind of sputtering, and we'll see if they get going. Obviously, they couldn't couldn't take care of business against Atlanta. Atlanta got the huge win. They're kind of maybe got some steam. I was listening to the Dan Patrick show, and Matt Ryan was on there, and I had heard him kind of talk, and you can tell they kind of have some high morale there. They don't want to leave Atlanta. They still think they got a chance this year, and they think this win could definitely be part of something bigger. Maybe a little bit of a streak going on here that puts them back right where they need to be, like you guys are talking about in this division. So definitely something to watch for moving forward with Atlanta. Also Carolina, again, they're kind of spotty here lately, but we'll see what's going on.
I think the moment Christian McCaffrey comes back, because Mike Davis is not a number one, but he's a great change of pace. So you could easily have him be the backup for McCaffrey. They have the only person who had a better completion percentage was Bridgewater's teammate last year, Drew Brees.
Mm-hmm.
He's throwing the ball out of his mind. The kid's playing at an elite level. I
I
think
agree.
you get McCaffrey back. Robbie Anderson's playing great. Samuel's playing great. He has a really good receiving core.
Even more.
Yeah, DJ Moore. Oh, DJ, any of them. They all play
Just
at
the
a high
defense
level.
that kills them.
Yeah, it's just the misplays in the defense, and that's
Yeah.
and like I said it on Thursday. Whatever defense makes the plays will win, and Atlanta's defense actually showed up.
Surprisingly.
And they took care of business. Yeah, they showed up and
You know,
they got they got heat
yeah.
on Bridgewater and Walker. So
Yeah, I think Carolina's just missing Luke Kuechly right now, and it's going to be hard to find another Luke Kuechly. I don't think it's going to be another Luke Kuechly. It's just one of those things where he retired at an unexpected moment, but it was a decision that he made based off his career and what he needed to do. And I'm not mad at that. In this day's game, the way the game is played, sometimes you just have to make those decisions. For the future. Either you're going to put your all in the sport, or you see yourself that you can do other things in the future. Because there will come a retirement, and what are you going to do after the retirement? So I think Luke Kuechly was looking at that as, as a longevity stage, and he made that decision. But Carolina defense just has to get better. They lost Bradbury. That was another thing. And they just right now Matt Rule is just working slowly with getting this defense together. But Christian McCaffrey is out too. But I think this running back that they got was a hidden gem. He was unexpected, and he's doing well. Not to where it's giving Teddy Bridgewater some leeway, but it's getting the offense going, and that's just what's got to happen. Just got to be consistent with it.
Yep.
Definitely. Speaking of being consistent, let's be honest and talk about who's been very consistent since taking over in Tennessee.
Okay.
That man Ryan Tannehill.
Mm.
Regardless of the situation, can Derrick Henry make the throws?
But let's just say this.
Can
Wait.
Can AJ Brown catch those passes from just a Marcus Mariota?
But would Ryan Tannehill's completion succession this year, would it be the same if they didn't have a Derrick Henry? That's the question you have to ask yourself.
That doesn't matter. There's plenty of guys who what's the word I'm looking for? Do well because they have a good running game. Some people have a good running game. Some people have an elite running game. And if you're able to take advantage of an elite running game and make yourself better, you're that much better of a player. You're using what's given to you to elevate your team. That's what you need to do if you're going to have play at a high level in the NFL. That's what he's doing.
And I definitely agree.
He came into a situation where he was a backup. He did his time. In Miami, he did 5 years. I personally didn't think he was the problem. He's showing now that he wasn't the issue. He took it to the playoffs.
You had Philbin and Gase.
Oh boy.
You had Philbin and Gase. So
let's not talk about that.
I feel bad for the kid, but you're absolutely right. Tannehill came in. He didn't demand a starting position.
Nope.
He bought his time, and let's be real. I think that when they brought Tannehill in, they were officially done with Mariota. That was just they just didn't want to say, "Oh, we're going to bring Tannehill in. We're going to sit Mariota, and we're just going to go with Tannehill." They wanted to give Mariota a chance to, keep your job, and he failed. And Tannehill he came in when they needed to win, and he listen.
He's pretty much been hot ever since.
Exactly, and so to be honest, yeah, he has been very consistent. He's one of the most consistent quarterbacks this season, and the future is bright for this guy. That's been in the league for 6 years already.
It's true. I feel like look at Alex Smith. Look what happened to Alex Smith the first couple of years in his career. He had
Try
all
for
these,
7.
there you go. See, the 49ers fan knows. Over here, he had all these. Everyone, oh, Alex Smith isn't good. Alex Smith isn't good. Then he comes out, and everyone's like, oh, Alex Smith, he's a good quarterback. Well, that's what happens when you give the man some consistency. What happens when you block for Ryan Tannehill? Oh, he can throw the football. The offensive line issues in Miami were absolute trash. They never gave the dude time to throw the football, and we never had a running game.
I don't think it was trash. I just thought that there were a lack of chemistry with the players that you guys had.
I
You
agree.
know, because you had Pouncey, you had Incognito, and those guys are stellar now in
Oh,
the
I know.
different teams that they're in right now.
It's funny you talk about that because I had talked to Albatross about Pouncey and about how he's a great center, and I wish that he was still down in Miami. But the thing was, when he was in Miami, there was all these talks about injuries and hips, and he has these degenerative hips. In so many years, he has to have hip surgery, and he couldn't play long term. We had to limit his minutes. Now he's like not injured at all
Yeah,
in Los Angeles with the Chargers.
yeah. I mean, and I think it's just one of those things where you guys didn't have a top line, but you had guys and bits and pieces in that area.
Right.
Like you had Incognito at the left guard and Pouncey at center, but you guys didn't have any tackles.
Nope.
And at that point, it gets to where just those two guys have to do most of the work. So they strain themselves, and I Pouncey just had to play more than 50 snaps a game, and that took a toll on him after a while.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. Well, like I said, like, go
I
ahead.
don't know. I guess here's my thing. I think the thing is the grass is always greener on the other side with most players in the NFL. And is every situation better? No, but it always seems like when you have a guy like Pouncey, but I mean, Incognito. Let's be real. He was just. If we had a bleep button, I'd say something worse. But he was just an idiot. He's an idiot. He's
Yeah.
a piece of trash. The guy thinks he's the greatest thing ever. He has this complex that if you're not, gonna basically wipe my butt for me, we're not friends. So I have no respect for Incognito. Does he know how to play guard? Yeah, he does. But I have no respect for him.
No, I'm totally with you. I have no respect for the guy, but I
Pouncey,
recognize his skill.
yeah,
I recognize his skill, and that's just as far as I'm gonna go with it.
right.
Me being a former offensive lineman, in high school and in college, I respect this game. But when I'm looking at it from an actual, player at an NFL aspect, I have no respect for him, and that's just where I stand on it as well.
Right. And then you look at Pouncey, and then here's my thing. I think the biggest problem with Miami at that time was the culture in the locker room. No, there was you had 52 individuals who didn't want to play as a team. But you also had leaders in that office and the coaching staff who didn't want to take the hard road and basically be honest to the guys and say, you know what, you're a bunch of individuals running around in Dolphin uniforms.
And doing lines of coke in their office.
Exactly. So I think it was horrible culture in the locker room.
Don't talk about the '97 Cowboys.
Right. Yeah. I think Tannehill bore a lot of the pressure. Why? Because every quarterback does. Let's be honest. Look, the Washington football team. Oh, they're horrible. It's all Dwayne. It's all Dwayne Haskins. It's his problem. He needs to be benched. Let's get rid of him. All right. Okay. Then when look, the 49ers do bad. It's Jimmy Garoppolo's burning the building down. He's the worst thing that's ever happened to the 49ers. But when we win, it's man, everybody played great, didn't they? You see the line playing the receiver. It's the way fans approach the game. Armchair fans ruin the opinion of players.
Yeah, and that is where I am with the Washington football team fan base. The Dallas game, for instance, everybody was like, "Oh, It's a great game. Kyle Allen looks great. And I'm like, no, it's just the offensive line there. The offensive line is improved.
Right. No one talks
Um,
about that though.
yeah, nobody
Right.
talks about that.
Yeah.
And it's like the offensive line has improved. They didn't. Brandon Scherf came back at the right time. They moved
What?
some guys around. Sadiq Charles is he got injured last week, but now he's going to be in. Week 9. And then you had Cornelius Lucas finally getting the snaps in. So that made a lot of improvement and adjustments on the offensive line. Now, and I think if you put Haskins back there, and I think he will excel with the offensive line that's playing like they are now. That's just me. There's a lot of Washington fans is like, oh, right now they're saying, oh, I already knew Cal Haskins was the better quarterback. Just trade Haskins, and I'm like,
No.
this guy literally lost his job
Yeah.
last year. I mean, he lost his job last year.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Thank you.
I mean, so it's look, and when it comes to the fan base, I talk about it myself on the Hog side. Everybody right now, the fans were saying before last week, hey, let's get rid of Ron Rivera. Ron Rivera just ain't it. Scrap him. And I'm like,
Already.
what?
Already.
The win against Dallas. Oh, Ron Rivera is looking like a true Super Bowl coach. We need to keep him. And I'm like, I wouldn't go that far, but
winning is just a great medicine to make any fan feel like they can win the
not
Super
Washington
Bowl.
fans. It doesn't matter. We won against Dallas, and we can lose by 1 point in Week 9 against the Giants. And it's same old Washington football team just losing. Ron Rivera is the worst coach ever. This is why he got fired in Carolina.
Well,
And it's just like,
just take. I was listening to a couple of individuals on a 49er podcast, and they brought up that they had seen some reports that because both Jimmy Ward and Jaquiski Tartt have been out in this last game, so we had our backups in there. Everybody said immediately we need to get rid of all of our starters and we need to go with the backup guys because they played better. Now, here's my question. What good receiver do the Patriots have? And I'll wait. I'll be here.
and that's how I felt about the Dallas game. Like, sure, it's a divisional game. I'm glad we won. I get to rub it in the Dallas fans' face. But at the end of the day, it's just like when we played the Eagles. They didn't have 95% of their starters. Everybody is injured. Dak Prescott is gone, so the morale there is just shot. The coach's atmosphere is garbage.
Yeah.
They just came in and was like, hey, we're gonna come in here and hopefully we win, but if not, I'm not gonna be mad at it.
Right.
And that's just how I felt watching that game. It's I felt bad for Dallas.
CeeDee Lamb 0 for 3 on targets, and I had a couple drops too.
Yeah, but I just think that game plan that they had with Del Rio, he basically said, hey, look, I'm not going to put Kendall Fuller on Amari Cooper. I'm going to specifically Kendall Fuller on CeeDee Lamb and let Jimmy Moreland take Amari Cooper and let the nickel cornerback take Gallup. And that's pretty much what happened to Xavier Woods. And that's pretty much what happened that whole game. Kendall Fuller, he neutralized CeeDee Lamb. CeeDee Lamb wasn't there. Amari Cooper wasn't there. Michael Gallup wasn't there. Ezekiel Elliott, there's something wrong with them.
He just doesn't get off the bus anymore.
It's not that he doesn't want to get off the bus. It's not that he's not there. It's that he's unhappy.
Yeah, he misses his quarterback.
Zeke isn't winning. Dak isn't there. They're not paying Dak.
Mike McCarthy is garbage. Look, I don't like to call coaches garbage, because I can't really put it all on the coaches. But I'm putting this all on Mike McCarthy right now.
Right now, he's looking really.
No. I'm going to put all of this on Mike McCarthy right now because even when Mike McCarthy got hired, I said he is not the coach for Dallas right now. He's not the coach for Dallas right now. You can't have players that have a personality like Ezekiel Elliott and CeeDee Lamb and Amari Cooper and then have a Mike McCarthy. It doesn't fit.
True.
No.
It doesn't fit as well. You see how he handled the Aaron Rodgers situation. It doesn't fit.
No.
True.
I agree with that. I think here's a quick off the cuff, let's be honest moment. The Cowboys are garbage without Dak. That's as simply as put, period. Unfortunately, they're trash without, and it's funny because he's actually one of the highest paid quarterbacks in the NFL under a franchise tag. How disrespectful. And listen, let's be honest. The Seahawks are the same blueprint as the Cowboys right now. They have crazy talent at wide receiver, but their quarterback is their Superman. The moment that Superman stumbles on some kryptonite, this team is going to fall apart. Look at the Cowboys. Just disarray.
Listen, like you said, again, mic drop. You know, I'm just going to start with the coaches. Mike McCarthy came in. You fire Ron. You fire Ron Marinelli.
Right.
Why?
He knew how to coach the defense.
Not only that you fire Ron Marinelli, you don't allow his predecessor, which is the defensive backs coach. You don't let him take over defensive coordinator. You brought in Nolan.
And my experience with Nolan as a 49er fan, he's garbage.
And then what do? You replace your old offensive coordinator that you've groomed to be the head coach for a backup quarterback that never started an NFL game.
Right.
And you wonder why your offense isn't progressing? That's why.
And you know what's interesting? At this point, Jason Garrett looks like a genius because at least he got production out of this offense without straining Dak. Here's the question I would like to raise. Is there just this nucleus problem within Dallas that maybe there's too much talent for them all to work together?
Well, honestly, I don't even think that, it's them working together. I think they have a great chemistry when it comes to the team in an aspect. Mm-hmm. I just think that, like I've said it, like I've been saying it all season, that coach's atmosphere that they got there is just not doing it. Not doing it. It's not there. And you can see it. You can see it in the locker room. It's the same locker room issue that they've been having when Wade Phillips was there.
Yep.
So, I think I don't know what Jerry Jones was thinking. You can even see it on Jerry Jones' face when he's in the media. It's not the same Jerry Jones. It's like, something got to happen.
He's second guessing that coaching hire.
Yep.
It's okay though. It's Jerry's world.
It is Jerry's world.
And
it's Jerry's world.
I hope they have fun in it.
I'm gonna say another honest, thing that I've been looking at this week, and it is I don't think Drew Lock is ready to be a starter yet. I do not think.
Based on what?
I think the fact that he didn't have Peyton Manning there at the time that he had him there.
Right.
That played a big part. A quarterback of Drew Lock's stature needs a veteran quarterback in front of him. And they didn't put that in front of Drew Lock at all.
No.
They didn't put that in front of Drew Lock. So,
They just gave him the job, so go do it.
Yeah, it's like, hey, here's the job, and
I think he can do it, but I think it's going to take him longer to get where they expect him to be. I think
you don't have a consistent wide receiving core.
Right.
Jerry Jeudy is just not there. I don't know what happened with them with Demaryius Thomas. Because at one point it was like, hey, only winners get wins.
Thomas just fell off. He just fell off.
I don't think he fell off. I just think that, again, they decimated their wide receiving core, and I think after Walker retired, that pretty much set the tone on everything.
Oh yeah.
You know, and honestly, and I'm going to say it. This is another. Let's be honest. John Elway sucks as a GM.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. VP of operations and GM, like, good moves. Here's my thing. I think you put Drew Lock in. I don't know. Let's just plug him into
New England.
New England. Oh yeah, there you go. I think you put him there right now. But even then, their wide receiver core is just garbage. This is what Tom was complaining about. This is why Tom Brady was like, "This is not right." You can see how much he was throwing these guys open. Tom Brady is not a system quarterback, and he's proving it right now. The other thing, back to the Lock thing, you watch this game against Kansas City, and it was all mental errors that gave a defending Super Bowl champion very little to work against. You know, and did Patrick Mahomes do anything special? No. He just really just kind of just did his thing. The offense worked. They ran the ball when it was snowing, and you know their defense took care of business, also getting points off of turnovers.
We'll get there. We'll get there.
So I think Drew Lock is a good quarterback. I think they need to get him a line and get him a system. I think Vic Fangio is a good head coach. He's a great defensive coordinator, and he stayed at that for a long time. I think he's ready for the head coaching position. I think if he gets the right pieces to mold these players to what he wants, get some people to block for this kid. Because I think Cortland Sutton is a really good receiver. You have Noah Fant. You have some individuals who can make moves. I don't think Melvin Gordon's the answer, personally. I believe.
I don't like him either. I don't even know why they went out to get him.
God, Philip Lindsay. I think Philip Lindsay is a much better runner. I mean, back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons.
They should have got Philip Lindsay and then kept C.J. Anderson. And I think that would have been a better tandem than Philip Lindsay and Melvin Gordon, because they're two completely different running backs.
Well, Melvin is this he wants to be a diva, but he doesn't produce enough to be a high-paid diva. So
exactly.
He cries when he doesn't get his totes, but then he does nothing with them. So I think Drew Lock's a good quarterback. I think if they're patient and get rid of Elway, then he could probably have some success.
Most definitely. I like that a lot. But, what does the future hold? That is my question. And my question to you to both of you starts with this first organization. The Atlanta Falcons. What does the future hold for the Atlanta Falcons?
Well, they won against Carolina in their final televised TV showing of the year. Matt Ryan didn't have really anything flashy. Julio Jones still obviously plays at a high level. I think they're in on this year, but I think right now they're just selling. That teeter-totter is just tipping around, and I think Matt Ryan's time is up in Atlanta. He wants to stay. I'm not saying Matt Ryan has fallen off, because I think you put Matty Ice in a really good situation, and you have a really good winning offensive football team, just period. The football team is going to take care of itself. He'll do it. I think, I don't know. There's just too many questions. They don't even know if they're going to keep Morris as the head coach. That may change. So if you don't keep Morris, who Ryan's playing well for him now, you trade him or you let him walk. Julio Jones. Again, these guys are huge names. They will impact teams immediately. So it's really up to Atlanta. Do they want to go in on this season, or should they try to put themselves to be sellers in the free agency market?
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I couldn't even say anything better. And I think right now with Raheem Morris is if it isn't broken, don't fix it. And right now you can see the atmosphere and the energy from these players versus what it was with Dan Quinn. They didn't have the urge to win. They didn't want to win. They just came out and earned their paycheck. But now with Raheem Morris, they coming out here headstrong, and they're losing close games and not blowing, big leads.
Right.
That game against the Vikings, everybody was like, "Oh, they're up 30-7. Well, we'll see how long that lasts."
True.
And look what happened. They kept the league and they closed the game out.
Yep.
And just that alone, it's just one of those things where, you know, right now we don't know what the future holds for the Falcons, but what we see now is that if Raheem Morris keep doing what he does, you can solidify your position as head coach in Atlanta, and Matt Ryan can stay there for about a year or two more, to develop under you. Maybe he can be the Matty Ice that we know him to be.
Right. Well, I'm with you. I totally agree there, guys. How about this next team? Oh, the old winless Jets. Where are you at with New York?
I mean, listen,
It's
like I
like,
said, I'm over it.
do you keep letting them tank with Gase and get those draft picks up, or do you like finally cut the cord and start the rebuild? Like, what do you do here? I feel like if you're gonna build this thing right, this better move is to get Gase out of there now rather than later.
Listen, what I see right now in with the Jets is what I've been seeing, for the amount of years that Washington has had Jay Gruden. Jay Gruden shouldn't have been there for the amount of time that he's been there.
Right.
Granted, him being there, we didn't got, quality guys on that defensive line, but, the way I look at it is that the Jets right now, listen, you don't want to bring in no other young guy, no other young player under the atmosphere of Adam Gase right now.
It's true. Toxic.
And it's toxic. It's toxic. Listen, you're considering trading Sam Darnold, who never really had a chance to blossom because you didn't invest in weaponry for this kid. You brought in Frank Gore. Last year, you had who? Bilal Powell,
Yep.
who was okay. But then, you didn't have you had Ty Montgomery. You had Ty Montgomery. And Ty Montgomery will
He's a
serve his
utility
purpose.
guy.
Yeah, he's a utility guy.
Yeah.
But then you had Robbie Anderson. You brought in Jamison Crowder.
Oh, totally use Robbie Anderson wrong
You
too.
you, you brought in Jamison Crowder.
Sure.
That was the start, But then you got rid of Robbie Anderson. Now all you have is Jamison Crowder. You have a tight end. We're not sure what it is that he has in him.
Yep.
I believe that the kid is amazing. I believe that he can become, a 2-tier tight end in those categories where we see, Hawkinson and Higbee. But when you're with an organization that doesn't want to win, what do you do?
The Jets.
You pull Jamal Adams and you get out of town.
Exactly.
You pull
Like, and
Le'Veon
now when
Bell.
you think about it, you
Yeah.
gotta ask yourself: was it really Jamal Adams? Was it really him?
No.
It wasn't.
It's like as much as I, can't stand Cupcake Kingdom. Oh, there it is. Good old Le'Veon Bell. You can't really fault the dude either. Him and Jamal getting out of town, getting released, traded, whatever. It was the right thing to do. Like, it's pure toxic. The sooner Gase is out of there, personally, I think the better the Jets organization will be. But I think it has to go higher than just Gase.
It's really sad. It's super sad to see. I know, and I'm probably sure I'll hear something about it, but Adam Gase is a brilliant offensive mind. When he's not coaching 52 guys, when he's coaching 21 guys, 11 guys, when he's taking care of the offense, not offense, defense, special teams, everything, he's brilliant. There's a reason why he was at the top of the list when he was the offensive coordinator with Peyton Manning winning a Super Bowl, making Jay Cutler have his greatest year in his career in Chicago. There was reasons why he was looked at. And it's sad to see because it's just that he's just not a leader and he doesn't want to be. And that's his issue.
Nope.
He's a great offensive coordinator.
Well, it's just like this, right? When you're known for your stature and your resume, and when a team says, "Hey, we want you to run this team," but when you're running this team, I want you to bring in the guys that you think that can get this team going.
Right.
You didn't do that.
No.
You failed at that. You don't have to coach
Terrible.
52 guys. You can bring in 2 coaches that can help you with that. And that is pretty much what is happening right now in Washington. He brought Jack Del Rio in, and he told Jack Del Rio, "Hey, listen, I'm a defensive-minded coach, but let's be real. I can't manage 52, 53 guys. I can't by myself. So I just want you to focus on your defense.
Mm-hmm.
I just want you to handle that. And if you can do a good job, you don't have to hear anything from me.
And to that point, Rivera is trying to change the culture. Miami just went through this with Flores. And look where Adam Gase was in both situations. You go to the Dolphins and the Jets for a head coaching opportunity. Brian Flores did it because he went through the Belichick, regime and made it out. So, point being is he knew where to go to change the whole thing. The Patriots were not a winning franchise prior to Belichick. Belichick comes in, changes them. We now know them as the dynasty that they are. Adam Gase is not going to be a guy to change anything. If he would have went to a place that already had a winning culture and had winning characteristics, I think we look at Adam Gase in a different light completely. I hope that he can get an offensive coordinating job because I think he can redeem himself.
Yeah.
He's not a good head coach. There's a lot of guys that aren't good head coaches that are great coordinators.
Jay Gruden.
Exactly.
Exactly. Say what you want about Jay Gruden, but when he was in Cincinnati, with Andy Dalton,
that offense was good.
The offense was good.
It was good all the time.
And they didn't really have a running back.
No,
the offense was good.
Yeah, it was that mixed match. But I think it was Bernard and
Giovanni Bernard and Joe Mixon.
Joe Mixon when Mixon was drafted, and it was a good rotation. He did well with what he had, but you put him into Washington, can't change the culture because you guys have just had this losing mentality for a long time, and it's just been horrible luck.
Which brings up perfect to bring up to the next team, which is the Washington football team and what their future holds as well. So where are they at? Do we, are we officially diagnosing Washington football team as major rebuild?
Right now, the rebuilding is still by far from being done.
Right, for sure. That's what I'm saying. Major, it's gonna take some time to really get where you want to go.
Oh yeah, and I hate to say it, because I always say that it's not always the owner, but I think now, Dan Snyder has to make a decision,
right,
to sell the team. I get it. Why the hell would I sell Washington to anybody? They can go 0-16, and I would still make a lot of money selling Washington tickets.
Oh, yeah?
Why would I sell? Because this fan base is so loyal.
Mm-hmm.
But here's the thing, and this is why I said in the beginning that Ron Rivera would be the perfect coach. We've seen 20 coaches come by, right?
Mm-hmm.
And in those span of 20 coaches, there was only one head coach that came for the position. And that coach talked to one of the best coaches that we've had in Washington. Joe Gibbs.
Yep.
He came in when Dan Snyder called Ron Rivera and was like, hey, I want you to become the head coach of the Washington football team. Ron Rivera didn't say yes right away.
No.
He took time to think about it. And who else is there in the Carolinas? Mr. Gibbs.
Yeah.
Called him up and said, hey, I was asked to take over this team and I need some advice. You're arguably the best coach, in Washington history. I need some advice. And Joe Gibbs told him simply, do what you do. Do what you do best. Don't be a yes man. Do what you do best.
Mm-hmm.
And if it's success, you can change the culture here. And from that, when I heard that whole story and conversation between him and Joe Gibbs, it was just like this. It can happen. Dan Snyder straight up told Ron Rivera, listen, we're going to give you creative control. I'm going to give you creative control because something has to change here.
It's true.
Something has to change here.
I think the biggest thing that has been holding the Washington football team back was its name to start with. I mean, let's just be real. It's just ridiculous. It should have been gone a long time ago. I think Dan Snyder was more focused on keeping a ridiculous name than he was changing the football and what was going on the field.
And I hate to sound like this guy, right? Honestly, and I think the name change wasn't actually a big issue, right? I just think that it was the fact that the name itself has made so much money based on the fan base. It's made so much money.
Mm-hmm.
Why would I want to get rid of this?
It's true.
Well, guess what? It's 2020. And guess what? You ain't got no other choice.
Right.
And I've always told people, with these fans, hit them where it hurts.
Right.
And where does it hurt? Pocket.
Yep.
You hit their pockets. You hit their pockets. The fan base has sent letters to the shareholders. The shareholders like, look, we're gonna back out. Can't do it.
Yep.
Sponsors, major sponsors, Pepsi, Amazon. It was like, hey, FedEx.
The field.
Yeah.
The field.
Yeah, we can't. We're gonna back out if you're not gonna change it. And they pulled him back in the backyard. But I think this future right now is very bright. And I think now Ron, despite the way Ron went about it with the decisions that he's made, you gotta respect a coach with a winning attitude.
Right.
Because at first it was all about rebuilding.
Mm-hmm.
Look, we're going to lose games, but we're going to rebuild while doing it. He looked up and saw that this division only had 6 wins in week 5.
Yeah, that's combined.
This division only had 6 wins.
Mm-hmm.
And there's no Dak Prescott in this division right now.
Yeah, no Dak Prescott. Carson Wentz playing like garbage.
And they have almost as many people on the IR.
Yeah, Daniel Jones is just as inexperienced, as Dwayne Haskins. Right. Listen,
it's wide open.
It's wide open. So hell, why not give these guys something to play for? Yep. They're playing to go to the Super Bowl. Yes, that is far from reach right now.
Right.
But we can win a division, and that division leads to a wild card.
Yeah.
And we seen the Titans become a true underdog last year, going into the wild card.
Yep.
Beat the star-studded Ravens.
Yep.
And almost beat the Super Bowl champs.
Yep. No, I agree. I feel like the name change is what really bothers for the whole team to really just glue together. The organization. Finally, like you said, it's 2020. Like, wake up. It's time for people to wake up and, let's get real. And I feel like it really helped the whole team. Like, this team looks now as like this is our identity. We have changed who we are. They have a great opportunity to utilize that type of change, I think, to make that winning environment. You have a great young influx of talent that is in that locker room right now. I feel like the rebuild had started. I feel like it's in full swing.
Yeah, and I honestly, what I think, and I'm going to end it on this note, is when Ron Rivera came in, they were asking. Everybody was looking at defensive coordinators, and there was some big name defensive coordinators that was available at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, you know what? I'm gonna bring in Del Rio. You seen what Del Rio has done with defenses. And when I seen that pop up on Twitter, I said, "Are you serious? We got Ron Rivera and Jack Del Rio.
Yeah,
I'm with it.
that's big
It's a
stuff.
good combo.
Yeah,
I think from a Miami's perspective, looking at Washington, I think you guys are setting yourselves up for a good position. I think you need to continue to solve your quarterback problem. And whether it be, Kyle Allen lost it last year, but what I was going to say earlier when you were talking about them is, the line's playing good, but at least he's playing good behind the line playing well. It's not he's bailing this line out and this and that, and it's no, the line's playing well. It's allowing him to play good. Can he play better now? Consistent. That's the thing you're going to look for. So it'll be interesting to see. I think, like you said, you guys do have a pretty bright future. You guys got a talented front on that defensive side. That's only going to get better. So it's going to be interesting to see.
I know. I also want to throw out this real quick. That Terry McLaurin right now.
Yeah.
Terry McLaurin right now is. Were you talking about 2-year wide receiver so far that's in the league?
Right.
He's number one.
Yeah.
He's number one right now.
Yeah.
43 catches, and 579 yards so far in the season. Top lane, DK Metcalf, Darius Slayton, Marquise Brown, and Scotty Miller.
Real good stuff.
Yeah.
So, speaking of good talent, poor Deshaun Watson, what are you doing in Houston? I mean, Bill O'Brien, you look at it, I feel like he basically sabotaged that poor team.
Yeah.
Like, they got no draft capital left. Like, Miami's sitting on, they were sitting on that war chest, and, we deployed some of it, but we still got some sitting there. We're just like, hey, Houston, give us everything you got. It was so bad. I've seen some trades, but I've never seen a dude give up that much. And now you're looking at a team in hurt. They're hurting pretty bad, and they don't figure they're getting any better anytime soon. And with not having a first and second round draft pick again in this year's draft, where are they at? What's going on here?
Yeah.
Sellers. Sellers.
That Bill O'Brien, he didn't do a very good job with the offseason and setting this team up for the next coach to come. And I feel bad because when Romeo Crennel, when he came in, everybody had very high hopes for him. Even me, we all seen what Romeo Crennel can do as a head coach. But right now, and as I said before, when he took over, this goes further than Romeo Crennel, and I think right now, this team is just. I think they're just done. And JJ Watt, I think he's done. I think he's just ready to leave.
If someone offers Houston a second, maybe a first round pick for JJ Watt before the trade deadline, does it happen?
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. Romeo Crennel said that JJ Watt, guys like JJ Watt and Will Fuller are off limits.
Wow.
But we all know that if you put a price in his face, you give them the proper draft capital. I'm
You know what
pretty
I'm
sure.
saying? Like if someone's like, "Hey, we'll give you your first round back," or actually, we'll give you your second round back since you don't have one. You'll give us J.J. Watt, and we'll give you another draft pick from next year's draft.
Yeah,
If I'm Houston, I take it.
yeah,
Well,
but then it's like, do you really trade J.J. Watt?
Yeah.
Do you
I
trade
do.
J.J. Watt right now?
You have to.
Have to.
Let's be real.
He's only probably got like 3 years left tops.
Yeah, I was gonna say 2-3 years max. And right now, he goes to a team, say, like the Seahawks. They got Carlos Dunlap. But think about him going to one of those NFC West teams.
Arizona.
That completes a defense that's looking for that type of player.
Yep.
He brings, still to this point, an edge to that defense that will be sorely missed for the rest of that franchise's history, because they missed out on one of the most dominant defensive players' career and didn't cash in. Now, they're at that point again. They have a top-tier quarterback in Mr. Watson, and if they just need to sell. They need to sell. You already got rid of Hopkins, who arguably is your best player on your team at that
Good
point.
shining in Arizona.
And then goes to Arizona. I think the Houston Texans right now need to be complete sellers on a rebuild. They need to take all their top talent and sell it. That's the only way you're going to rebuild what you made a giant mistake on giving all your stuff to Miami.
So this is how old I realized I was, right? I was watching a highlight of J.J. Watt, and one thing that I've seen was Adrian Peterson from the Vikings. I was like, okay, but then I looked at it again, and then when you see the evolution of the Fox Network scoreboard, and it was the one where they had the score in the middle, and they had the Fox. They just had Fox on the side of the scoreboard and stuff. And that was back in like 2010, 2011. I was like, Jesus Christ. I didn't know. Feel like it just feels like J.J. Watt had just came into the league. But yeah, I think that if he does go anywhere, he needs to go somewhere where there's right now, is in a position to win a Super Bowl. He deserves one.
Oh yeah, he needs to.
Yeah, he deserves one. He didn't been to the Pro Bowl, multiple times.
Should have had an MVP.
Should have. He got snubbed for that. Now, honestly, and I think it's because I think these MVP trophies are geared toward offensive players only.
Right.
And that sucks. That's something that we can definitely talk about, next week. Because,
let's be honest.
Let's be honest, because there were by far, a lot of other defensive guys who should have won MVP, during the season, that didn't win because, you have this offensive guy who was just as valuable. Just going to throw it out there, Ray Lewis. It's just no reason why Ray Lewis never won an MVP trophy.
Or Ed
Never.
Reed.
Or Ed Reed. Or Troy Polamalu.
Or Junior
Rod Woodson.
Yeah.
I even go that far,
Yeah, for sure.
Well, the last person to win was Lawrence Taylor.
Yeah.
Are you kidding? Are you kidding me?
Even Michael Strahan, for God's sakes.
Right.
It's
all about, like, back to your Washington comment, it's all about selling tickets. Because all about that proceeds for the next year to bump your salary cap up. The more tickets you sell, the more money you have to spend.
Yeah.
So I think Houston just needs to sell. That's where I'm at. Sell, rebuild.
Solid.
For sure. Yeah, I'm totally on the sell train. It's man, Houston disaster. Almost close to the dumpster fire that is the New York Jets. Speaking of teams that are kind of down there, but their record's bad, but they're not as bad as their record appears them to be, and that would be the Cincinnati Bengals. I think Joe Burrow is what we think Joe Burrow is. We've seen it. He's doing with people. He's up there. He's putting the numbers up. He's keeping this team in the game. There's times when the defense isn't doing what you need. There's just some inconsistencies in certain things. You got to fix the offensive line. The dude's just getting plastered. If he keeps taking hits like that, it's not going to be good whatsoever for Joe Burrow long term. It's just
the way I feel about that is because I think they really did. I think they did Carlos Dunlap the wrong way. They didn't really talk to him about being benched or anything. They were drawing up the lineup on the whiteboard. Carlos Dunlap, looked at it and was like, "Oh, I'm on the bench. Why am I on the bench?
Yeah, for real.
Why am I on the bench?" And for a while there, Carlos Dunlap has just been frustrated this whole season with how the defensive play. Sort of right now what J.J. Watt is going through.
Right.
It's the same thing with J.J. Watt going through. And it was to the point where it got real toxic, and Carlos Dunlap went on Twitter and put his house up for sale in Cincinnati.
Wow.
Yeah, and it really just got that bad, and now he's in Seattle. So it was bad, and Carlos Dunlap was pretty much just like, all right, I'm ready to be out. I only have a few years left in me anyway. So treat me as somebody who's ready to win a championship. And what's better team right now that actually need pass rushing than the Seahawks? So
True.
but the Bengals right now, they're in a good position. They don't have Joe Mixon, to add to that offense. I like Giovanni Bernard, but I don't think that he's a Joe Mixon. And
no. He needs his duo.
he needs those two. He needs both of them on the field at the same time. And AJ Green, I say, look, trade him right now. If you just need to get rid of him, not get rid of him like that, but he just needs to be somewhere else where he's ready to actually win a championship.
True.
And that's just AJ Green. Ross he's ready to get traded too. He don't like the way, he's been treated so far inside of the offense. He's ready to be traded, and he went on social media as well, saying, I'm not a player who wants to just get his check by being on the bench. I want to play, and if I'm able to at least get the time, the minutes to play in a game, that's good enough for me.
Yeah.
But I just want to be inside of a game.
Guess what? Get into practice, make plays, get better.
But I think right now though is, you really don't see any production right now from Ross. And right now, like I said, and I'm going to be that guy. Is if you don't see much in the player, just trade him.
Yeah.
Trade him or release him. One or the other.
Don't waste him.
Don't waste them.
Yep.
And that's right now where I'm at with with Haskins in Washington. Ron Rivera, if you really do see something in the kid, then I understand you mentioned him, to the third string. We've seen Ron Rivera do this before in Carolina, so I'm not mad at it, and I just, again, Washington fans, be patient. But, with the Bengals, I think they wasting Ross's talent. They keep making him out to be this number 2 receiver who can catch deep balls. He's just not that person.
Mm-mm.
He's not that person. He's a
Not at
slot
all.
receiver at best.
I don't know. I think they have a great overall. I think the quarterback class of this last draft class was top notch and has been top notch. And I think they're going to be, staples in this league for a long time.
Just as good as 2012.
I think we could easily see that. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
because we got Burrow, we got Tua, we got Herbert. I mean, and Herbert, just got his first win. That kid's been playing lights out, lights out. I mean, diamond all over this field.
Okay,
Just
Eason.
again, catching it.
Speaking of this, we're gonna get to this. We're gonna get to this. Since we're jumping into top games, we're already talking about Cleveland, Cincinnati.
Right.
Let's keep on the train here.
So Cincinnati, I think they should honestly get rid of AJ Green. You have a number one in Boyd. Move Boyd to your number one. Move Ross up to your number two. Put him in more of the slot position. Give him more reps. I think AJ Green needs to go to a team where he can fit in, win a championship, retire, go home, have fun. Now, we skip to this game. And again, I had made this comment way earlier, in the season. I had kind of got on the Cleveland hype train maybe a little too soon. They played Pittsburgh, got smacked around, kind of looked iffy for a couple weeks. Now, this is Cincinnati, who's kind of in this rebuild, I'm competitive every game mode. But Cleveland showed up. And I think the guy who really showed up was the quarterback, Janitor Mayfield, I call him, because he likes to take care of the stadium all the time. I really think he showed up, and this is big because it's the battle for Ohio. This is a huge, huge divisional rivalry. I think if he doesn't step up, I think Cleveland needs to just get rid of him. I think this was his great game.
I think this rivalry, when it comes to the two teams playing in the same state, I think this right here that game has to be one of the best that we've seen, this season. Even better than the Rams versus San Fran. That game was good, but it wasn't this good. We had two young quarterbacks. We got two veteran running backs going at it. And then we got two young wide receivers going at it as well.
Yep.
So it was a shootout game, with Joe Burrow racking up 400 yards, and then Baker Mayfield had 297, 5 touchdowns versus Joe Burrow's 3 touchdowns.
But what's interesting about that stat line, sorry to cut you off there, is if I remember correctly, Baker threw an early game interception, and then after that pick, he didn't miss a throw the rest of the game.
Nope.
He was
insane.
He was gunslinger Mayfield. It wasn't janitor Mayfield.
Finished the game 22 for 28.
Just on fire.
It was nuts.
If that Baker shows up, Cleveland is a good
They
team.
got a chance.
Even
but see, you don't know what Baker you're gonna get though.
I know. It's just a lack of consistency, and then obviously losing OBJ hurts.
Leaving OBJ, that's gonna be a killer. So now the question is, do you trade for AJ Green?
Ooh.
Woo!
That's
saucy.
Trade for AJ Green. It'd be stupid. It'd be stupid to trade AJ Green to a divisional rivalry. But if the price is right, do it.
You'd have to play him again because this was only the first meeting. But the interesting thing about all these trades, due to COVID restrictions, these guys have to pass 5 straight days of constant testing
before
just to get with their team. Mm-hmm. So, like the 49ers play the Seahawks, and the Seahawks got Carlos Dunlap, but he's not going to be there. You don't have to worry about him until week 17. Hopefully he gets injured. Just saying. But point being, this is changing the landscape and how these guys get to their team by after the trades, how they're affecting these teams. So I think that's a good point. I think, they should definitely look to get AJ Green. I mean, that'd be dangerous. That'd be fun.
Or there's rumors talking about that they're more looking at Randall Cobb or Will Fuller.
I can see that.
Again, smart moves. Randall Cobb, veteran. Will Fuller, I think, is very underrated.
Very underrated.
Speaking of underrated, Arizona's proven that they belong in the NFC West.
All the teams do. That's the best division in football.
Not better than the NFC East, despite the lack of wins that the division has been
Get
getting
out of
the
here.
last few years. But
Don't be a homer.
let's be real. The NFC East is the best division, in history. We're the best division in history. Nobody has more Super Bowls in championships than we do. So,
right.
but going back to this NFC West game, this game here was the battle for it all.
Oh, it was a great game.
It was. This was
game.
the game where it came down to everything.
Mm-hmm.
And let me just say this: I'm having a let's be honest moment tonight. DK Metcalf is a freak.
Oh yeah.
Is a freak, and he is scary. How scary is he? Is the moment they caught that interception, he looked at Butter Baker, and he took off. Took completely off.
Out of a cannon.
Past everybody else who was already upfield. That was the crazy part about it. It wasn't the fact that he had the stride. It was the fact that when you're looking at this in real time, when you're looking at him run in real time, you see this kid, he passing running backs, wide receivers, cornerbacks, defensive backs. And Russell Wilson was the last guy. And once Russell Wilson seen him past him, Russell Wilson was like, "Oh, you got it."
Got it. It was nuts.
That's hustle. And you can't teach it. It's just hustle.
You can't teach it. You gotta have it.
What I love seeing. I wish I'd stop doing that to my mic. I'm sorry, guys. What I thought was the coolest part about that was when Baker was running. He's like, "Oh, we're good. Whoa, wait a minute. There's a guy. Oh, go away!" Like he.
Yeah, when he seen him, he told him threw him off because he thought he had it. He thought he had it.
Oh man, I had to watch it a couple times. I laughed.
He thought he had it. Once he seen DK Metcalf there, it threw him off.
He's like, he
threw him off completely.
He's like, ah!
Just imagine being in Butter Baker's shoes right now.
Oh, dude.
Running for the end zone. You turn your face, and all you see is that face. If you seen Get Out, and when the janitor was running towards, the main character.
Yep.
That was the scariness that I seen when Butter Baker turned around and seen DK Metcalf. It was scary.
DK Metcalf he's just a freak.
Yeah, he's a dog, man. He's a dog.
You look outside of that play, he didn't do anything in that game.
Nope.
Because the defense, which Arizona has a
I think they have by far the best secondary core in the NFL right now.
They're top notch. I mean, this defense just in general is a really solid core under Vance Joseph. So it's hard to beat him. I think we need to ask the question: when does Kyler Murray finally get a little bit of credit? He outduels the MVP leader right now, and again, he is almost a carbon copy of Russell Wilson. No one wants to give this kid credit because he's short, but the all-time leading NFL passing leader in Drew Brees can't even see over top of his offensive line. So we can see that short guys can do it. I think Mr. Murray is a really good quarterback, and I'm a 49ers fan. It's hard. It hurts me to say it. I can't stand the kid. Can't stand either team. You got to give them respect. They're both awesome quarterbacks, and
I don't think it's more of the respect thing. I just think that with Kyler Murray, and this is what that too, and it separates when you're not looking at the physical body aspect when you compare the two between Kyler Murray and Lamar Jackson, and when you see them game for game, Lamar Jackson, he takes his time, In Kyler Murray, in an instance, it's like he's always run first, and that has to change. Like we get that you're a scrambling quarterback. You use your legs. We get that part.
Mhm.
But you have to see the field more, and it does come in time. He is young, and that whole thing progresses, in due time, but and I totally agree. He is the carbon copy of Russell Wilson, and in due time, when Russell Wilson retires, he'll be the next man up for the job.
Yep. I think just a comparison between Jackson and Murray. I think Jackson's the better runner, but I think Murray's the better passer.
Oh,
Honestly, I
easy.
mean,
Oh yeah,
I
that's
think
that.
he's just more precise. And look, Hopkins he's still having a great year.
And
Hopkins is going off.
what's the difference between those two quarterbacks, and this is my last time comparing them to, is that and I was just having this conversation with a buddy of mine last night. Is that, well, let's be real, Ravens' success really based off the RPO.
Yeah, run pass option.
Sorry,
It is.
Yeah. But in Arizona, it's a little bit different, and that's what happens when you have Kenyon Drake and Chase Edmonds.
Yeah, Kenyon Drake, who finally just decided.
Oh yeah, that's how they want to figure out how to run the football. What a fool!
So,
But that was Adam Gase era.
thank you, Arizona. I liked you for a split second. Now I don't like you anymore, but thank you.
Speaking of you don't like, I don't really like the Pittsburgh Steelers, but yet here they are, the last undefeated team taking care of business. Or was it Tennessee missing the field goal? I don't know.
No. Listen,
It was a great game.
Listen, my buddy, he's a Steelers fan, and he was saying, "Man, I thought we was going to lose this game." And I was like,
Oh,
honestly,
yeah.
the Steelers right now are undefeated for one reason: they take it to the end. They take it to the end. They don't give up. They don't look at the scoreboard. They just know that what they need to do, they get it done, and that's what pretty much, it separates them from a lot of these other teams who it's the reason why they're the only undefeated team, and these other teams that really have like 5 wins, or 6 wins right now, that's 6-1, is because they have blowout leads.
Yeah.
Pittsburgh, they don't have a blowout lead.
Nope.
Each game that you see them play, they had to fight for to the last second. And I think this is why right now, this is the Pittsburgh that we have seen, the Super Bowl champs. These are the Super Bowl champs that we're seeing right now playing, amazing football. Ben Roethlisberger looking like the young Ben Roethlisberger.
Yep.
Then you have this running back core who's finally actually gelling together.
Yep.
Last year we was like, where's this running back core? James Conner injured. Benny Snell, he can't really tote the rock as much as he would like to.
Yep.
But now you see these guys, if all these guys are healthy, you see these guys, these 3 running backs, it works. Juju Smith-Schuster, he's who he is. But then you got this awesome rookie wide receiver.
Oh, Claypool's playing great.
He's playing great. He's playing tremendous. And I've said this in the beginning, and I said, look, if you guys are going to look at a rookie wide receiver, it's going to be Chase Claypool.
Yeah, the Steelers right now are playing Steeler football, but it's kind of interesting because this Steelers team is almost in a similar situation that the Broncos were at the end of Manning's career. The moment Roethlisberger leaves, if they don't find that answer, there's going to be some trouble in the hunt. Because we got a little snippet last year into what it's like into the Steelers not having Big Ben running that offense, and it was horrible.
And this is why right now they would need to trade for their next quarterback. And right now what I see is either going to be Sam Darnold or it's going to be Dwayne Haskins. And if you guys haven't read an article, please go and read my article on the top 10 trade aspects and who is the top 10 trades for this trade deadline. But I think right now Pittsburgh is right where they need to be at when it comes to finding a backup quarterback for Ben Roethlisberger. It could be Sam Darnold. It could be Dwayne Haskins. For all we know, it could be Ryan Fitzpatrick. Who knows?
You never know. But I think the biggest thing about this game, Tennessee if Tennessee plays 4 quarters, they beat Pittsburgh. And I'll say that. I think Tennessee is the better football team, but they don't know how to play 4 quarters right now. And that's their biggest thing. Like, you said, CJ, the Steelers come out, they play 4 quarters, they don't look at the scoreboard, and they know how to take care of business. The Titans kind of get this, like, they know they're really good, but they don't want to be as good as they know they are. I don't know. They get kind of confused. And then they get yelled at in halftime. The paint falls off the walls because of the words that are coming out. And then they come out and they play. So I think if the Titans find 4 quarters of football, watch out.
I agree. I mean, really, it was a tale of 2 halves. I'm pretty sure it went into halftime at like 24-7.
Yep.
And the final score was 27-24.
Yeah.
So the Tennessee defense went from giving up 24 points in the first half to giving up 3 in the second half. Like, tale of 2 games, or tale of 2 halves in my mind. Ryan Tannehill played pretty good throughout the whole game, though.
Yeah.
Like, he didn't make any mistakes. He wasn't the reason they lost. He put them in a position to tie the game and go to overtime. And what's his name? Gostkowski?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
He decided he wanted to miss a field goal that, let's see, who was it? That Matt Prater made in Detroit after a personal foul call, put it pretty much the same distance, and dude kicked it right down the middle.
Right.
Well, that comes with age. That definitely comes with age. Not all kickers, evolve.
Matt Prater is older than Gostkowski.
Hey, listen, man. Like I said, not all kickers evolves with age.
I know not everyone ages efficiently. I get it.
Yeah.
But not everyone ages.
Yeah,
like
it was kind of the way I see it. Like
everybody can't be Robbie Gould.
No.
Yeah, they missed that field goal.
You can get old and you can be Mason Crosby.
The look on oh man. The look on Big Ben's face really said it all. When he missed that field goal and Big Ben looks over, he was like,
he missed it.
Like, we just got out of this scot-free.
You seen their faces when Steven Gostkowski had to kick the ball. They was like, well.
Yeah.
We just stole this from the baby. Now
yeah. Which, it's crazy overall because I said it again, beginning of the year, the return of Big Ben was going to be huge for this team, and you're seeing it. I mean, they're obviously the last undefeated team. They're flourishing with Big Ben back. You have these young wideouts playing well, running games going well, defense is playing hot, taking care of it, getting sacks, turnovers, just taking care of business. So definitely come to take it, to watch going forward. But I do agree with the Tennessee take. I think Tennessee's still going to be right there when it matters most. When it comes postseason, it comes time to play the playoffs, they will be playing the big games when it matters.
Agreed.
Moving on to teams that are going to be in the big games, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Had a blowout in Denver, a snooze fest, if you will.
I fell asleep there.
Oh, it was bad. It was a trouncing, but I mean, you gotta.
I trying to snowfall, not the game.
Yeah, no, and you took the words right out of my mouth.
Yeah.
The only reason why I even tuned into that game is because it's been a while since I've actually seen a snowfall football game.
Yep, those are the good ones to watch too.
Yep.
Oh, it's the best ones to watch. We've seen the Super Bowl happen, the Snow Bowl.
Right.
Oh yeah, Denver's not looking great. Kansas City's continuing to roll. They're just looking.
They're just
ridiculous. They're just getting
business.
They're just executing well. They're not overplaying. They're not looking past people. They're staying in the moment. They're executing their plays, and the people that they're playing against aren't taking care of business. They're capitalizing, scoring points, and lots of them.
And let's be real. The only teams that have pushed Kansas City has been their rivals. Every other team they've played has been junk, and it will be junk. I mean, you go from playing the Broncos to playing the Jets. So, I mean, you're getting breaks off. It's obviously not very straining on them. They don't have a very long list at all of any injuries. So, these guys aren't straining themselves. I think what KC is going to have to avoid
Right.
They're doing a good job of playing their games, not like you said, not being like, oh well, we got this. We can just go out here and do whatever. They're playing smart football. They're taking care of business. But what I think they're going to have to avoid is that moment when they're just like, you know what, we got this easy schedule. No one's here to play us, and then they forget just maybe a little bit to play a team, maybe the Dolphins. And then they come out and they're going to be in that moment where they lost, like to the Raiders, where I think they took that Raiders team.
Or the Jets this weekend.
Who knows? Who knows? You never know. Maybe Sam Darnold's like, I want to sell myself and I got an opportunity, so let me just go out here and show you guys the greatest game of all time.
Right.
Who knows? Anything can happen. That's why they play on Sunday. But Kansas City's playing smart football. They're the defending champions, and they're doing a good job at it.
Speaking of playing smart football, how about Tom Brady?
Oh, here we go.
You gotta be terrible, Tom.
Terrible Tom.
I'm on the Tom Brady hype train, and I have been for a while.
You know, being a Dolphins fan, I was so happy to see him leave, and I was one of the guys that was like, he's not necessarily a system quarterback. He's a guy that you can plug in, and he's going to win football games if you give him the talent, and that's
all right. So I'm going to be the devil's advocate here. Okay.
Yes.
Of course. Let's go.
And is Tom Brady still a system quarterback?
No.
I mean, you say no, right?
Never has been.
You say no, right?
Right.
But you give him the same thing that he's needed for the Super Bowl wins. You give him Gronk is back. You gave him Mike Evans. You gave him Chris Godwin. What happens? You give him a defense. Then what else happens? You bring in Leonard Fournette.
You get Antonio Brown.
You get Antonio Brown. Do I need to keep on going?
Yes.
Because
here's the thing. Tom Brady's winning, and he's doing it in the NFC, not the AFC.
Under Bruce Arians.
Bruce Arians, who I know who he is.
Who's also can be that coach, just like Belichick.
He can, but I wouldn't put him in the same category.
I just think he has the attitude of, I know what Tom Brady can do. I know what Tom Brady needs. I'm gonna give him that. That's
the only difference between him and Belichick. Belichick just has I don't really care what you want. I'm gonna give you what I know you need, and it's do it my way or the Patriot way, or you're gonna be bye-bye. Yep. Now Bruce Arians, he's a player. He's more of a player's coach. But you got to think about it. He's got to make up for some of the ignorant statements he's made this season about off-field things. He completely flipped his script. Earlier this season, no, we're not signing Antonio Brown no matter what. Now he's looking at his wide receiver core going, man, there's maybe some question marks, possibly. You bring in him, I don't think there's any more question marks. Tom Brady is just doing what Jameis Winston had a hard time doing. Tom Brady is consistent. Unfortunately, Jameis Winston is not. So it's just the way it is. I gotta give support to the California boy. I wanted
listen. I like Tom Brady.
Gold,
Tom Brady's by far.
The greatest of all time.
Yeah. And people say, "Oh, you can't really say that." No, he is. Just shut up. He's the best quarterback in the NFL history. He is. He has 6 Super Bowls. He didn't pass the records that needed to be passed. Yep. He is the best quarterback in NFL history. Until there comes another quarterback that comes and does what Tom Brady has done, he's the best quarterback in NFL history. There's just no ifs and buts about it. But I like Tom.
Come on, Mr. 199 was throwing mediocre Julian Edelman open, right? I mean, look at Edelman this year. Edelman can't do anything.
Well, Edelman can't even stay on the field.
Right, I mean, I agree with that, but
father time,
maybe. But everyone said it prior to him getting old. Everyone said he's a mediocre receiver who has a great quarterback throwing him open. And look, Cam right now is not playing like Cam Newton. His
He
feet
was
look
playing
good.
like trash.
Well, his feet look good, but his arms are not with his feet, not with his eyes. It's just not right. And
So let me ask you
problem.
this: Is it? I don't necessarily think it's his arm. I just think that these wide receivers just can't catch.
Oh, they're trash. I think wide
You
receiver
know.
core in New England is one of their biggest
You
problems.
give him like Edmonds, Chris Godwin, and Antonio Brown. You know, I mean, do I even need to say what's going to happen?
Things could definitely change. I agree with that.
Speaking of things that hopefully change, or in Miami's case, hopefully not, because we need those top draft picks. But Green Bay bouncing back, taking care of business. Rodgers caught fire with Devontae Adams, torch Houston, get back on top of the victory. They get beat up the week before and bounce back where they need to. It's Houston, right?
It's Houston.
But if you're a good team, and you're going to be a good team, you got to beat teams that aren't good.
It's true. That's true, but I'm not going to read too much into this win.
Oh, I'm not.
I'm not. For the simple fact that they played a better team last week, and they got smoked.
Smoked. Like
speaking of games that we don't
first degree burn,
read too much. I should smack you.
We don't need to read too much into this. Cam's not playing well. They're not looking good. They're just looking unstable. Kind of just gave the 49ers an easy one.
This game right here, right? And
it definitely wasn't what you thought it was going to be.
Yeah, because let's be honest. Some players are coming back with the Niners, but they're still depleted a little bit, and when you see the Patriots side, what happened? I'll tell you what happened.
They don't have an identity.
You thought
Tom Brady's
that
not there.
Yeah, you thought that, Tom Brady's leaving. We got this, stellar, cornerback secondary unit, which is also old.
Yep.
They're old.
The McCourties brothers have been there for a long time.
Yeah. No, yeah. They're old. Stephen Gilmore, he's getting old. he's getting old. Yep. These guys can't catch up anymore. No. They can't catch up anymore. You saw it when Houston got rid of Jonathan Joseph. Yep. He's old. Yep. But this San Fran game, it makes me like every week between Chase Claypool and Brandon Ayuk, it's just hard for me to choose who I love the most. These two wide receivers here, Brandon Ayuk is just a dog. Yep. He just like I said with Chase Claypool. They just want to win.
They do.
They want to win. And if you feed them properly, they will give you results.
You win.
They'll give you results.
When it comes, I want to say a couple quick things in reference to this game before we let the 49er fan speak his thoughts.
A lot of thoughts.
I think Cam in New England still continue to struggle. They're unable to find a rhythm on offense. They can't really find an identity. Like you were saying with Cam, he just doesn't look right. He doesn't look comfortable. He doesn't look like he's confident or happy in New England as much as he said he was. Like, it was good the first couple weeks. They hit a rough patch, and the dude's like, I went out or something. I don't know. It doesn't look good, though. That's for sure. Cool for Miami fans, not cool for New England fans. San Francisco, honestly, they continue to roll after kind of the unfortunate shellacking they took at home. I feel like it was a good wake-up call, but you see this team, and maybe it goes to what you called out, the coaching staff. Maybe it goes to the coaching staff actually doing what we expected them to do. Why they were in the Super Bowl last year. They made the adjustments. They weren't saying, Jimmy G, throw the ball 20, 15 yards down the field, make these plays. No, it was 1-2, get rid of the ball. Quick outlet passes, playmakers make your plays, take care of business. That's happened. You run the ball, look what happens. You win, Jimmy G gets out untouched.
Who's New England's offensive coordinator last year?
McDaniel.
Josh McDaniels, right?
He's still the OC.
Yeah, I know. I think that, and I hate to say this, after this year, they need to consider giving Bill Belichick his walking papers, not because of this loss. I think that the NFL game has left his era, and this is the time now where they need, where right now, I'm just gonna say it's younger coaches now, and Bill Belichick just don't look like he can hang unless he has Brady,
Right.
you know. And I know this is the first year with him not without Brady, so I'll give him that leeway. But I mean, you see what happened when Brady isn't winning, or when Brady got injured, for a couple of days, for a couple of weeks last season, and when they got stomped by the Bills, you
Mhm.
know, it's just without Brady, you have to actually go and look for talent. That's what you just got to do. Now you have to actually go out here and look for talent.
Yep.
You went to go get Cam Newton, but you don't have a steady running game. You thought that having Cam Newton was going to bail out James White and Sonny Michel. That's just not that's not the case.
Nope.
That's not the case. You need an offensive line. You don't have the same offensive line as you used to have. You don't have the defensive front that you need. You just need to go through a total rebuild right now. And with the picks that you have right now, the picks that you have gained, use them next year.
Yep, I agree. I think
I also think the Yak Bros are playing very, very well for the 49ers. George Kittle coming back was a huge ordeal, and you see that with how Ayuk and Deebo Samuel are playing. When they're all together out there, it's hard to pick who you got to shut down.
Yeah,
agree.
I agree.
Well, this is definitely the slowest New England team I've seen in almost 20 years. And these guys are slow. Like, they're just slow. Wide receiver, running back, they're slow. And you saw it. I mean, the 49ers were just outrunning them to the points of attack. And that's really what you saw all game long. Am I going to read again too much into this victory? No, but I'm proud to see that we handed Bill Belichick the worst loss he's ever had
What?
in Foxborough.
You're not going to read into this anymore? What?
No. I'm not going to just be like, oh, hey, we went and we beat.
I mean, it's the Patriots. But look.
No, it's
If Washington football,
If
if the Washington football team beat the Patriots 32 to what? 5-3?
33-6.
Yeah, 33-6. Listen, I'm hooting and hollering.
It feels good. Bill Belichick has been consistent every year at home, and for us to get him at home, it was fun.
Right.
It was fun. I loved it, every minute of it, and I'm glad to see them playing like this.
But move on.
But what you said, Condor, I agree. I think after the Miami Dolphins came out and beat the 49ers, I've heard other guys say this too. I think they spent that whole week listening to everyone talk about how crappy they are.
Yeah.
And literally, I think that's all they did. I don't even think they game planned. I think they were just like, oh man, we're trash and we need to hear it.
Yeah. Listen, that game alone, and you're absolutely right, because with me being a Washington fan, I've had to hear a lot that week. With my team losing. But another thing that I've heard, because I have a lot of friends that are actually 49er fans, and they've been hearing a lot about how, the 49ers are not the 49ers anymore, how they're garbage. And I'm like, how are they garbage? They only have 4 or 5 of their starters, on both sides of the field. How is that garbage? I mean, but then, look, I told my friend, I said, listen, just give it a couple of weeks. George Kittle comes back. George Kittle comes back. Brandon Ayuk is going to rise. He's going to keep rising. Everything is going to just come together. Just got to be patient. And look what happens now. They came to New England. They shoved the ball down their throat. They didn't even let them score a touchdown, for God's sakes.
I know. It was good. It was glad, like, and again, we played at a high level against a team we should have played like this against. I think the biggest thing that bothered me the most about it is why was Deebo Samuel in the game? We're up. They're not going to beat us. And Deebo's out here running like he's trying to get the first down in the fourth quarter of a tie game, and he gets a hamstring strain. If I'm Shanahan, why is Garoppolo in there? Why is, and look, Jeff Wilson on a touchdown score gets a high ankle sprain because of the way he got hit. Put in Jermichael Hasty. Let this kid, who's going to be our starter tomorrow, let this kid come out.
Get some butters.
We were hiding him on our practice squad.
Yep.
Shanahan has made the comment, I don't want to show him. You're going to show him. And he looks good. He runs hard. He runs downhill. This is a perfect game for him to come into against Seattle. It's just going to be a hard-fought game. No one's getting blown out. It's going to be rough. As a 49er fan, I'm going to be sitting here, heart rate, anxiety. I'm going to feel like crap after the game because I'm going to go through an emotional roller coaster. But
you're going to go through a roller coaster.
I think the Niners, and this is weird. I'm starting the hype train, and I've been on it, but quietly on it. I think they're heading in the right direction, better than last year, and this is why. We went 9-0 until we lost our first game. These guys were in outer space, and they came down in a Super Bowl loss.
Harsh reality.
They didn't really catch the ground after losing to the Ravens because we didn't get smacked by the Ravens. We lost by 3. They didn't really feel it. They felt that Super Bowl loss.
Harsh reality.
Exactly. They know what they did. We come out this year, we lose to Arizona at full strength, but we almost, here we are, horseshoes and hand grenades. Almost. We go, and obviously we beat the junk in New York. I mean, who doesn't at this point? Then we just have some horrible games in between. And, I remember walking home after that Arizona loss. I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, this is not the right team. Not the right team at all. This team is just not correct. After they get smacked by the Dolphins, Fred Warner goes into that locker room and rips them a new one. And now you're seeing exactly what this team can do. I think we're going to continue to get better. I think we're going to beat the Seahawks tomorrow. And I think the 49ers will win the NFC West for the fact that we're hardened now. We've been battle-tested. They've been punched in the mouth multiple times this year. I don't think they have any more teeth to spit.
Oh, that's a big hype train right there.
The gums.
Yeah. Oh, I'm telling you, hype train's going. If they win against Seattle, I'm having a big old hype train session next Saturday.
Watch out for that.
So what happens if you guys lose?
Woo.
Then I'm going to go cry in a hole and cry.
No, he's going to call the coaching staff again.
Yes, I'm going to call out Kyle Shanahan.
You know, that's just how I felt about the Washington and Dallas game. Like, I was like, because in the beginning, before the game even started, I was like, you know what? Watch Washington just turn around and lose this game. It's just going to be so bad. It's going to be so bad. And then we beat the crap out of them. Cowboys fans like, well, we're garbage. It was like, yeah, but I'm just going to rub it in your face. You know?
Yeah, we're going to set that garbage on fire.
But this game right here is something that I really want to talk about because
speaking of, rolling, the Rams just dismantled Chicago. Defense just threw them on the ground, walked all over them, took care of business, did the little shuffle, and was like, later, walked out the building with a W. The Chicago looked terrible. They didn't really put up much on offense. It's just what's going on? It's I'm tired of this team relying on that defense. The defense is great, but quit relying and putting all the pressure on them. Go out there and score some damn points and help Khalil Mack and them out.
That's the issue. And unfortunately, they want Nick Foles, as their head coach. They want him as the quarterback.
That was so bad.
I just can't stand him. I'm sorry. I'm so over it. It's such a joke.
The hype train.
You're wasting Mitchell Trubisky because you don't want to admit that your offensive line is trash. And that's where I'm at. You have a great defense with an offense who can't score. The Rams, in my opinion, are not this good. Again, another one I'm not reading into. They beat a team that's half a team. You have a good defense, no quarterback to run the offense, and the Rams go out there and take care of business. They were playing against a tired defense, and the Rams have good receivers, and if you don't take care of business against those receivers, they will beat you.
Yeah, well, just like I've been saying, look, in the beginning when Nick Foles was named as the starting quarterback, I was the guy that was like, you know what? This needs to happen.
Mm-hmm.
This is now that Nick Foles is the starting quarterback, this is the question. What Nick Foles are you going to get every week? Are you going to get the Super Bowl Nick Foles? Or are you going to get Jacksonville Nick Foles? There's two completely different Nick Foles.
Oh, yeah.
Don't be Jacksonville Nick Foles.
No.
And that is what happened in versus the Chicago and the Rams game.
Yep.
Nick Foles, he was 28 for 40. He had 261 yards, but no touchdowns and 2 interceptions. So it was bad. It was bad. And I think honestly, right now, anybody can say what they want. They're missing Tariq Cohen right now.
Yeah.
They're missing Tariq Cohen right now.
Again, another duo that needs each other.
There's David Montgomery right now is reminding me of Matt Forte.
Well, he's just by himself. He has nothing. And when the guy gets to the
My
hole,
point exactly.
he gets smacked. He gets smacked at the hole. But here's the thing that kills me. No one is riding Nick Foles the way they would ride Mitchell Trubisky. And you can't tell me that there's really any difference in the play at this point.
Well, one is a Super Bowl quarterback and one isn't. I hate to say it, but that Super Bowl game, I was a big Nick Foles hater. I always said I didn't think Nick Foles really deserved the credit. Carson Wentz got him there, but Nick Foles played the hell out of that Super Bowl game.
Yeah.
And, but what I like to take from that Super Bowl game is that,
he can do it.
You can do it, but he's just inconsistent. You're very inconsistent. And
like Kyler Murray, you need to see more of it.
Yeah,
but it's one of those things where,
but Murray
like
is
much
better than Foles.
But it's just
right.
like you said though,
area,
earlier, Albatross in the show, is that you got to get an offensive line.
Yep.
And I believe that in the beginning, when he came back and beat the Falcons,
yep.
He had a decent offensive line. Then injuries started piling up. Then they have nobody. And then now you started to see the Jacksonville Nick Foles. And I think right now they just need an offensive line right now, and they just need to go out and get James Carpenter.
Yep.
There's a rumor right now that James Carpenter is being sold.
Yep.
You go out and get James Carpenter. He's a solid guard, and I think he can come out and fill that position of their guard that went out. So they just have to rebuild the offensive line again for Nick Foles to get going. But Nick Foles is just inconsistent.
Agreed.
100%. I like it all. Well, we're getting ready to wrap her up here. We're going to go ahead and send CJ on out of here. We do appreciate your time.
Oh, man, I'm going to timeout again.
On a wonderful, spooky edition. No, but for real, man, we appreciate your time.
It's been great, man. I appreciate you guys for having me.
And we will look for you soon, man. You have a great rest of your night.
You do the same. Happy Halloween.
You too. Later, man.
You, buddy.
So, here we are on this wonderful evening in Halloween. Oh, I love it. Here we are on the evening of Eves. The night before it all happens. But
before you get to this, I gotta say it. It's been really interesting. I've seen, a lot of football now. Obviously I remember Dan Marino playing.
Oh yeah.
So for me, it's interesting to watch the spirit and the fire of this franchise be completely ignited by the gentleman who will be taking the reins. I'm not going to say his name yet, but the gentleman who will be taking the reins. I've been big on him. I'm not big on Alabama, but I think he's ready for the moment. I happen to like a left-handed quarterback that my football team had for a long time, and he was super high on him. I'm just excited to get some left-handed quarterbacks in the league.
Yep.
And if you guys take care of him, the sky's the limit. And that's what I'm going to say before this Dolphin fan has his moment in the sun.
It's time. It's time for failure.
No, not time for failure. It's two
Okay,
a
here we
time.
go. It's two a time. Right there.
There we go.
Two a time.
Oh, two a time. There we go. Yeah.
My phone just decided to fail on me.
Right.
But that's what time it is. It is time. The time will be tomorrow. 11:01. 1 will start. I'm excited, and I'm not giddy, overly excited with crazy, unrealistic expectations.
You're giddy.
I'm excited that there's actually a reason for excitement in Miami.
Right.
Not just Brian Flores and his team playing well, not just the defense and the secondary and, the bright spots that we're seeing, but the fact that they decided that now was the time. Ryan Fitzpatrick was playing well. Everybody wants to complain. You can't let him go much more. If Fitzpatrick keeps going the way he's going, we've seen him go and rattle off, 3, 4, 5 in a row, just completely hot. So you can't let him go much more than this. 5-5 is the perfect time to put this kid in to say, hey, this is your team. Go get it. He's either going to take you where you need to go, or he's going to lose some games, have some rough spots. But guess what? Every game he plays this year makes Miami better next year. That's just that simple. I'm uber excited, though, in the sense of a left-handed quarterback. I'm ready to see it. I'm totally excited to see it. I've never been able to fully watch that and grasp it on the pro level in my life. I've seen, Michael Vick, but, I was still younger at that time. I wasn't fully into the game as much as I am now, where I just watch plays and, oh, this is cool. Well, now I look more in-depth players, things like that. So I'm happy to see it. I'm totally excited. This kid's one of the greatest college quarterbacks to ever play the game. I mean, and that's just what it is. If he doesn't get the injury that he got, he's the number one pick in Cincinnati, not Joe Burrow.
True.
This kid had it all. He has it all. He has everything you want. He has the story, the background, the mentality. He's humble. He's a team first guy. His background and where he came from American Samoa. The dude is ready for this moment. It's nothing that he's not used to. He's used to having those moments in life that he has to, face something head on, and he does it every time and does it with the utmost passion that he could possibly do it, and he always succeeds. Yep. So it's very interesting to see where we're at. I hate the unrealistic expectations for the kid, because it's like we're expected to have a Super Bowl run just because we put him in. No, that's not right. I'm okay with maybe a playoff berth. Maybe.
It's come on, it's not that far-fetched.
No, not with what's going on right now.
I'll say it right now. Let's do a hot take. I think the Dolphins win the AFC East this year. And here's why. Why? Because your head coach. Because your front office. Because the culture in the locker room. Because you look at this Bills team, who should be the best team in the AFC East right now.
Yep.
Should be. Keyword.
They're shaky.
They're shaky. They have issues. They go out and they have these horrible moments that show you, I think, truly who the Bills are. And it's unfortunate. Bless you. I think the Bills bless you. I think the Bills have had many opportunities to get this team right where they want them to be, but they're not taking it. I think this Dolphins team takes it. I think they win the AFC East. I think they do make a playoff run. Now, am I going to say Super Bowl? No, I'm not going to say that yet. Why? Because I feel like there's just that battle tested, that battle hardening. Like I said about the Niners. The Niners are a different team this year because we've lost. We got kicked. We were down on the ground. We stood back up. We're smacking teams in the face.
Yep.
That's what I see in the Dolphins. I see this team has already bought in. They love their coach. They play for him. They play as a team. I think Tua comes in. You finally have your hardest position in the NFL now
Filled.
with a player who can be an elite level quarterback.
And wants to be in Miami.
Again, a great thing. Finally, someone who wants to go down there, play, and be down there.
Yep.
You know, that's, again, the big thing. I think something else. Let's look here in just a quick spotlight look at what we've had this year already.
Yeah.
Burrow, Tua, Herbert. Just the three. I'm not, going to jump into the other ones, but look at Herbert. From the moment that kid touched the field, has been just beautiful.
Yeah. Everything you want to see.
Yeah, passes every eye test. Burrow, beautiful. Has mistakes, but guess what? He's slinging it out there, making this Bengals team, who Dunlap and all these guys want to leave because it's so horrible. But this kid's out here just playing great, fun to watch,
having fun,
excitement in the city of Cincinnati.
Slinging it.
Exactly. I think Tua does the same thing. If he loses, I don't think he's going to get blown out. It's just not going to happen. I think it's what's going to happen. You're going to see a good, hard-fought, contested game, and you're going to see the Dolphins be right there. And this is the way it's going to be for the rest of the season. Even when they go up against the almighty Cupcake Kingdom. When it goes up against the Cupcake Kingdom, I think, guess what? Time to get real, Kansas City. Pull your bootstraps on. You're going to go play a team that wants to play 4 quarters. Again, I think the Dolphins are winning the AFC East. They're going to make a playoff, but that's going to get them better for next year.
I agree. I totally agree with that. I think the way this defense is trending, you have to watch out for it. They're actually top 5 in points allowed, actually higher rated than the Rams, which everyone is super high on that defense.
Right.
So
I'm pretty sure they're top 2, if I remember correct, in most of their metrics.
Yeah, last I saw, they were like 5th in points scored, and points allowed, and Miami was like 3rd.
See, yeah. And I'm not personally, I'm a Niners fan, but I think the Rams defense outside of Aaron Donald is kind of spotty. That's my opinion. He hides a lot of their flaws. You look at this Dolphins team, you have players making plays all over the field as a team. It's not one guy hiding flaws. Yeah, you have Howard, you have Jones, you have some superstars who can play at that level.
Yep.
But it's a team event.
Yeah. The rest of the guys, so the rest of the guys are playing well around the stars.
Yep.
That's what you want to see. You want to see your stars play well, which is allowing everyone else to play well. And that's what I'm starting to kind of see. It was so sad. I was so sad and let down when Byron Jones went down with that groin injury early in the season. I was just like, heart ripped in half. I'm like, no, we're done. Like
I feel like that's
it hurt
because Dolphins fans are so fragile right now.
Well, we're so used to seeing these top guys we get come in and just fail or get hurt and can't stay on the field, or they're half the person they used to be. Like, we've not gotten what we want from people in free agency in the past. Well, that's not the case as of right now with Byron Jones. You're seeing it. The dude's out here making plays. Like when they had, what was it? I believe they have attempted to throw a total of, I want to say it was like 16 passes or so against Howard and Jones, and there's been like 6 6 completions for like 60 yards, 2 interceptions, and a pass deflect.
Yep.
So you're not really getting a lot against these guys.
No.
At the same time,
it's good.
When they're getting takeovers, the offense is moving the ball. They're taking care of business, scoring. The run game's still kind of so-so, but when it comes to pass blocking, this line isn't as bad as everyone thinks. Like, I'm tired of hearing this offensive line is terrible and so bad, and they're young. It's a bunch of rookies with like 2 veterans.
But they're still not making huge mistakes.
No.
Let's look at the Niners-Dolphins game. Have you seen the Dolphins quarterback looking like Jimmy G getting hit like that? No.
No.
Good communication. That's the thing. They're learning. There's been a couple of times that they've got beaten on good technique. But
right.
That's called being a rookie
in
the NFL.
You learn.
These guys know how to beat you. They know how to use certain techniques against maybe strength or quickness.
Right. So that's why tomorrow's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting to see Donald in that front go against the young line.
Yep.
The young line in experience, that is, this young Miami front.
Right.
Now, I think we can take care of business. I think we can minimize the destruction that Donald's going to bring, because it's going to happen. He's going to have some plays where he's going to cause some havoc and, whatever. It happens. But I also think that we can do enough to get away from those plays to take away from his effect on this game. And I think if we can get – if Parker and Williams can mess with Ramsey early, they will have a chance all day.
Yep.
If they let Ramsey kind of, get into them and physical and stuff, confident, then we'll kind of have some issues.
Right. I think the biggest thing you guys need, and again, going from what the 49ers did to them just a few weeks ago, he got 2 quarterback hurries, not hits, not sacks, hurries. And you're talking, I think it was like 20 some dropbacks, maybe a little more than that.
Yep.
That was plenty of time for Aaron Donald to wreck somebody.
Mm-hmm.
He only needs 1 snap to do it. If you guys stretch them to the left and to the right, that's the weakness of that Rams team. You start stretching them, Ramsey plays forward, you get him.
Yep.
That team is very codependent on whether Ramsey can take away that best option and if Donald can get the pressure. Because if those two don't win, the Rams are in trouble. Jared Goff is not carrying you anywhere. Yes, you guys have really good receivers in LA, but you don't have – Malcolm Brown's not the answer. He's a good number 2, but you don't have a number 1.
Right.
And let's really let's just break it down. I just don't think McVay is as good a head coach as everyone paints him to be.
No.
He brings the same style every weekend.
He's not good at adjustments.
Yes. And if they are adjustments, they're like minute.
They're very little. It's not change in blocking schemes or how they're calling running plays. It's just like, I need you to touch this guy just a little right there.
Right.
It's not what you want. Like, even when the Super Bowl, when they were getting beat at the point of attack because they like to go at angles.
Yep.
Straight up and down.
Yep.
Fix it. Go straight up. You would have caught holes. Todd Gurley would have had lanes to run.
Yeah. And look, I believe I heard on Thursday, Gurley has like 8 or 9 touchdowns.
Oh, yeah. He's scoring it well.
And he's on a team that doesn't have more than 2 wins. They just got their second win. And you leave from a team in LA, which everyone kind of makes the comment that, this is one of the top tier teams. I don't buy it.
So if Miami wins tomorrow, are they a top tier team?
I think Miami has been a top team. But again, maybe I'm kind of being a fake Miami homer here, because I'm not a Dolphins fan, but I've watched this team. I kind of had to sell them back to you when the changes happened, but really, I've watched this team grow. There's too many people and too many naysayers out there that won't give credit where credit's due. This
Yep.
team's real. The Dolphins are for real. That's why I'm looking past this Rams game, because I expect you guys to win. I don't think you guys will win. I expect you guys to win.
Here's what I get the feeling of. So we've won 2 straight going into the bye. Obviously, they make the announcement for Tua, which, again, I think was leaked before they intended to announce it.
Unfortunately.
But he took care of business. He handled it like a pro. He was in pretty much the entire off time, the week they had off. He was in studying film, running routes, throwing routes with guys, chemistry, what you want from your starting quarterback. He took care of it, handled it right. Well, here we are, game time. From what I hear, again, like you said, I trust Brian Flores. It took me a minute in the beginning, but when you really see what Brian Flores is and you really see down to the core who this dude is and the traits that basically he lives his life and how he coaches his football team, the dude's a winner. Like, he's one of the only coaches in the league to coach every position on a team. He knows what to look for in these groups. Like we said, not many coaches are made up to coach 53 men. Some guys are only 11, 22, 6. This dude is one of the people in my mind who could coach them all. He knows what it takes to do every position. He's done it all. So he knows what to look for. We're seeing it. He's building depth. The secondary looks solid. It's only getting better. Front seven's young. They're getting better. You bring in Kyle Van Noy, Elandon Roberts, some of those guys that were playmakers in New England.
Yep.
They're making plays on this defense. Emmanuel Ogbah is, I believe, halfway or a little over halfway to a 10-sack season, when people in the preseason were saying, oh, Ogbah and Lawson are good signings, but they won't be double-digit sacks. Looks like he might be a double-digit sack.
Most people, like I said earlier, armchair fans. They're one of the biggest downfalls. But at the same time, I feel like us as fans are kind of a really big downfall.
True.
We're so emotional and sporadic on the crazy feelings we have.
Yep.
When we have a ridiculous expectation for a kid coming into a game to play the hardest position, such as Tua will do tomorrow.
Correct.
I think we just need to respect these guys, enjoy these guys, and enjoy what you have. You have the moment. Hopefully you live in it. Hopefully they take care of it, because windows close fast. Windows close extremely fast in today's game. It's not 5, 6, 7, years of a window that you have to win all these championships.
Yep.
It's now, and now.
Yep.
I think, again, back to your point with Flores, just look. The moment he came down to Miami and was no longer in New England, that talent pool has kind of dipped a little bit. And this guy was one of the guys making the calls saying, Bill, this is our guy. Bill, this is our guy. So I think you guys got one of the biggest steals. I think Brian Flores, and I have said this ever since Miami Dolphins hired him, I said he was going to be a great coach. The moment he started dumping everybody and Miami Dolphins fans were losing their mind because they were losing their players, I said it needed to happen. I said, look at that team. Watch. He's going to go through and dig through and find every dust mite in the bottom of every single closet, and he's going to find which one wants to play for him. And you, at the end of that season, you guys got beat a lot. But look at the end of that season, Miami Dolphins were better than the Patriots last year. And yes, they still had terrible Tom. But you know what? The Miami Dolphins finished that as the best team in the AFC East. Bar none.
Yeah.
Bar none. And it's carried over. This Dolphins team is for real. I'm saying this as a 49er fan, had to watch you guys beat us this year. I'm not happy about it. I wish we could play again. But it's okay. It's okay. I think it's time for people to respect a team who's been in the basement of the AFC East.
100%. 100%. I think we'll leave it at there. It's Tua time tomorrow. I'm ready for it. I'm going to be obviously holding my breath if he gets sacked and watching how that's going to go, because I just hope that everything's all right. But again, Brian Flores and them made the call. They know what's going on. They see this kid every day. They've ran him through, ups and down, health, this and that. They see what he does on a daily basis, how he practices, how he deals with things on a daily basis. They know what he can do. So they think it's time. It's Tua time. We will all be watching. I know I will. Tomorrow.
Go Niners. Beat the Seahawks.
Ooh. Well, guys, that's all we got for this edition of Saturday Night Sports. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you guys next week.
Have a good one. Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween.